Hello and welcome. If you're watching this video today, there's a good chance you've been feeling something that many people your age experience, but don't always talk about openly. Maybe it's that restless feeling that creeps in during the quiet hours of the evening, when your mind starts racing with worries about tomorrow or next week, or things you simply cannot control. Perhaps it's the way your chest feels tight sometimes, like there's a weight sitting right there on your heart, making it harder to take those deep, satisfying breaths you used to take without even thinking about it. Or maybe you've noticed that your blood pressure readings have been higher lately and your doctor mentioned stress as a possible factor, leaving you wondering exactly what that means and what you're supposed to do about it. If any of this sounds familiar, I want you to know that you are absolutely not alone. What you're experiencing has a name, and it's something that affects millions of adults over the age of 60. It's anxiety, and while it might feel overwhelming or frightening at times, I'm here today to share some incredibly hopeful news with you. There are gentle, natural ways to address these feelings that don't require complicated medications or expensive treatments. These are techniques that you can begin using today, right in the comfort of your own home, and they can make a real difference in how you feel both emotionally and physically. You see, what many people don't realize is that there's a profound connection between our emotional state and the health of our cardiovascular system. When we feel anxious, worried, or emotionally overwhelmed, our heart responds immediately. It might beat faster, or with more force, or in an irregular rhythm. Our blood vessels can tighten, raising our blood pressure. Our breathing becomes shallow, which means less oxygen is getting to all the parts of our body that need it, including our heart muscle itself. This isn't just something that happens to other people. This is your body's natural response to emotional stress, and it's been happening to humans for thousands of years. But here's what's particularly challenging for those of us who are 60 and older. Our nervous systems, which are responsible for managing our response to stress, aren't quite as resilient as they were when we were younger. Think of it like this. When you were 30 or 40, your body could bounce back from a stressful day relatively quickly. Your heart rate would return to normal, your blood pressure would settle down, and you'd sleep soundly through the night. But as we age, our nervous system takes longer to reset itself after periods of stress or anxiety. This means that worries that might have rolled off your back decades ago now tend to linger, creating a persistent state of tension that your cardiovascular system has to work harder to manage. Additionally, our bodies produce different levels of stress hormones as we get older. Cortisol, which is often called the stress hormone, can remain elevated for longer periods when we're dealing with ongoing anxiety or emotional tension. Elevated cortisol affects our blood vessels, making them less flexible and more prone to developing higher blood pressure. It also affects our heart rate variability, which is a fancy way of saying that our heart loses some of its natural ability to speed up and slow down in response to different activities and emotions throughout the day. Now, you might be thinking about medications that your doctor has prescribed or that you've heard about for managing anxiety or blood pressure. And certainly, there are times when medication plays an important role in keeping people healthy and safe. But what I want to focus on today are the natural approaches that work alongside whatever medical care you're receiving, or that might even help you avoid the need for additional medications in the first place. These are techniques that address the root of the problem, which is helping your nervous system learn to relax and reset itself more effectively. The first technique I want to share with you is something you can try right now, even as you're listening to this video. It's called gentle, deep breathing, and it's probably the most powerful tool you have for immediately calming both your mind and your cardiovascular system. Here's how it works. When we're anxious or stressed, our breathing naturally becomes shallow and rapid. We start taking quick little breaths that only fill the top portion of our lungs. This sends a signal to our brain that we're in some kind of danger, which makes our heart beat faster and our blood pressure rise. But when we consciously slow down our breathing and make it deeper, we send the opposite signal to our brain. We tell our nervous system that we're safe, that there's no immediate threat, and that it's okay to relax. The most effective way to do this is to make your exhale longer than your inhale. So you might breathe in slowly for a count of 4, and then breathe out even more slowly for a count of 6. As you inhale, imagine the air filling your lungs completely, expanding your ribcage gently. As you exhale, let all of that air flow out slowly and completely, allowing your shoulders to drop and your chest to soften. Try this with me right now. Breathe in slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do that again. In for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Notice how even after just 2 breaths, something shifts in your body. Your heart rate begins to slow down. The tension in your shoulders might release just a little bit. This isn't your imagination. This is your nervous system responding to the signal you're sending it through your breath. You can use this technique anywhere and anytime you notice anxiety starting to build. When you're lying in bed at night and your mind starts racing with worries about tomorrow, you can use your breath to guide yourself back to a calmer state. When you're sitting in a waiting room before a medical appointment and you feel your chest getting tight, you can breathe your way back to steadiness. The beauty of this technique is that it's always available to you, it costs nothing, and it begins working immediately. The second natural approach I want to discuss is something called mindful movement, and this can be as simple as taking a gentle walk around your home or doing some very light stretching. The key word here is gentle. We're not talking about vigorous exercise or complicated routines. We're talking about moving your body in ways that feel good and help release the physical tension that builds up when we're anxious. When we're worried or stressed, our muscles tend to tighten up, particularly around our shoulders, neck, and chest. This physical tension actually makes anxiety worse because our brain interprets muscle tension as a sign that we need to be on alert for danger. But when we move our body gently and purposefully, we help those muscles release their grip, which sends a calming signal back to our brain. If you're able to walk, even just around your living room or to your mailbox and back, this kind of gentle movement helps your cardiovascular system in multiple ways. It encourages healthy blood flow, it helps your heart maintain its natural rhythm, and it gives your mind something peaceful to focus on besides whatever has been worrying you. As you walk, pay attention to the feeling of your feet touching the ground, the gentle swing of your arms, the rhythm of your steps. This kind of mindful attention to simple physical sensations helps interrupt the cycle of anxious thoughts that can make your heart race. If walking isn't comfortable for you, gentle stretching can be equally effective. You might slowly roll your shoulders backward and forward, or gently turn your head from side to side, or reach your arms up toward the ceiling and then slowly lower them back down. The important thing is to move slowly and pay attention to how each movement feels in your body. This combination of gentle physical activity and mindful attention is incredibly soothing to an anxious nervous system. Now let's talk about something that might surprise you: the power of certain herbal teas to naturally calm your mind and support your heart health. For centuries, people have been using plants and herbs to promote relaxation and emotional well-being, and modern research has confirmed that many of these traditional remedies really do work. Chamomile tea is probably the most well-known calming herb, and there's good reason for its reputation. Chamomile contains natural compounds that have a mild sedative effect, helping to quiet racing thoughts and promote restful sleep. But what you might not know is that chamomile also has gentle cardiovascular benefits. It can help lower blood pressure slightly and reduce inflammation in the blood vessels. A warm cup of chamomile tea about an hour before bedtime can become a soothing ritual that signals to your body that it's time to begin winding down for the night. Lemon balm is another wonderful herb that many people aren't familiar with, but it's particularly effective for the kind of anxiety that affects seniors. Lemon balm has been shown to reduce cortisol levels, that stress hormone we talked about earlier, and it also has a gentle calming effect on heart palpitations. You can find lemon balm tea in most health food stores, or you might even be able to grow it in a small pot on your windowsill if you enjoy gardening. Preparing and drinking herbal tea can become more than just a way to get beneficial compounds into your system. It can become a peaceful ritual that gives you a break from whatever has been causing you stress. The act of boiling water, steeping the tea, holding the warm cup in your hands, and sipping slowly creates a few minutes of mindfulness and self-care in your day. This kind of gentle ritual can be incredibly grounding when your mind has been spinning with anxious thoughts. Another natural approach that can make a significant difference in both your anxiety levels and your heart health involves paying attention to certain nutrients that your body needs more of as you age. Magnesium is one of the most important minerals for maintaining a calm nervous system and supporting healthy heart function, but it's also one of the nutrients that many older adults don't get enough of. Magnesium helps regulate your heartbeat, supports healthy blood pressure, and plays a crucial role in helping your muscles relax. When you don't have enough magnesium in your system, you might notice that you feel more anxious, your muscles are more prone to cramping or tension, and you have trouble sleeping peacefully through the night. The good news is that there are delicious and easy ways to increase your magnesium intake naturally. Some of the best food sources of magnesium are things you probably already enjoy eating. Dark leafy greens like spinach, nuts, and seeds like almonds and pumpkin seeds, and even dark chocolate all contain significant amounts of this calming mineral. One simple way to increase your magnesium intake is to have a small handful of almonds as an evening snack, perhaps paired with a piece of fruit. This combination gives you magnesium for muscle and nerve relaxation, along with natural sugars that can help promote sleepiness. Another option is to add some pumpkin seeds to your yogurt or oatmeal, or to enjoy a square or two of dark chocolate after dinner. The key is to make these additions feel like treats rather than medicine, so that taking care of your nutritional needs also feels like a small act of kindness toward yourself. Speaking of kindness toward yourself, one of the most powerful techniques for managing anxiety and supporting heart health is something called gratitude practice, though you don't need to think of it in such formal terms. This is simply about taking a few minutes each day to consciously acknowledge things in your life that bring you comfort, joy, or satisfaction. When we're anxious, our minds have a tendency to focus almost exclusively on what's wrong, what might go wrong, or what we're worried about. This creates a mental loop that keeps our stress response activated, which keeps our heart working harder than it needs to. But when we deliberately shift our attention to things we appreciate, we activate a different part of our nervous system, the part that promotes calm and healing. This doesn't mean pretending that your challenges don't exist or putting on a false positive attitude. It simply means balancing your awareness of difficulties with recognition of what's going well. You might appreciate the comfort of your favorite chair, the taste of your morning coffee, the sound of birds outside your window, or the fact that you have a warm, safe place to sleep each night. You might feel grateful for a phone call from a friend, for your ability to see clearly enough to read, or for the way sunlight looks coming through your curtains in the afternoon. The practice is most effective when you either write these appreciations down or say them out loud, because this helps make them more concrete and real in your mind. You might keep a small notebook by your bedside and write down 3 things you appreciated about your day before you go to sleep. Or you might simply say them quietly to yourself as you're having your morning tea or getting ready for bed. What's remarkable about this practice is how quickly it can shift your physical state. When you focus on appreciation and gratitude, your heart rate becomes more coherent and steady. Your blood pressure tends to decrease, and your breathing naturally becomes deeper and more relaxed. It's as if your entire cardiovascular system responds positively to positive thoughts and emotions. Now let's address something that affects many people your age, but isn't talked about enough: the impact of screen time and electronic devices on anxiety and sleep quality. Many older adults have found themselves spending more time on phones, tablets, or computers than they used to, especially if they use these devices to stay connected with family members or to access news and information. But the blue light that these screens emit can interfere with your body's natural production of melatonin, the hormone that helps you feel sleepy and maintains healthy sleep cycles. More importantly, the content we consume on these devices, particularly news media or social media, can be a significant source of anxiety. Constant exposure to negative news, upsetting stories, or even the overwhelming pace of information can keep your nervous system in a state of chronic alertness, making it much harder for your heart rate and blood pressure to settle into healthy ranges. One of the most beneficial things you can do for both your anxiety levels and your heart health is to create periods of time each day when you're completely free from screens and electronic stimulation. This might mean turning off your television, phone, and any other devices for the hour before bedtime. During this time, you might read a book, listen to calming music, do some gentle stretching, or simply sit quietly and practice the breathing techniques we discussed earlier. This screen-free time gives your nervous system a chance to down-regulate, which means moving from a state of alertness and stimulation to a state of calm and restoration. Without the constant input of information, your mind has space to process the events of your day and begin preparing for restful sleep. Your heart rate naturally slows down, your blood pressure decreases, and your entire body begins to shift into the healing mode that happens during quality sleep. Another technique that can be particularly powerful for seniors dealing with anxiety is something I call heart-focused breathing. This combines the deep breathing we discussed earlier with the simple act of placing your hand on your chest, directly over your heart. There's something profoundly calming about this physical connection with your own heartbeat, and it can help you develop a more trusting and peaceful relationship with your cardiovascular system. Here's how you do it. Sit or lie down comfortably and place one hand flat on your chest, right over your heart. Close your eyes if that feels comfortable, or simply soften your gaze downward. Begin breathing slowly and deeply, just as we practiced earlier, inhaling for 4 counts and exhaling for 6 counts. As you breathe, focus your attention on the area under your hand. Notice the rise and fall of your chest. See if you can feel your heartbeat against your palm. As you continue breathing this way, imagine that you're breathing directly into your heart area. Picture your breath bringing calm, warm energy right to the center of your chest. With each exhale, imagine releasing any tension, worry, or fear that you've been carrying in your heart. With each inhale, imagine drawing in peace, safety, and comfort. This technique is particularly helpful when you're experiencing heart palpitations or when your anxiety is manifesting as chest tightness or discomfort. The combination of conscious breathing, gentle touch, and focused attention helps reassure your nervous system that your heart is safe and strong. Many people find that after just 5 or 10 minutes of heart-focused breathing, they feel noticeably calmer and more centered. It's important for me to acknowledge something that many people your age experience but don't always feel comfortable discussing: the sense of isolation or loneliness that can contribute significantly to anxiety and heart problems. As we get older, we sometimes find ourselves with less social contact than we used to have. Friends may move away or pass away, family members might live far from us, and mobility challenges can make it harder to get out and connect with others. This social isolation isn't just emotionally difficult. It actually has measurable effects on our cardiovascular health. Research has shown that loneliness and social disconnection can increase inflammation in the body, raise blood pressure, and increase the risk of heart disease. But the reverse is also true. Feeling connected to others, even in small ways, can have protective effects on both our mental health and our heart health. If you're dealing with feelings of loneliness that contribute to your anxiety, please know that even small steps toward connection can make a difference. This might mean calling one person each week just to say hello, or writing a letter to someone you care about, or finding ways to be helpful to others in your community. Sometimes connection happens in unexpected places. A friendly conversation with a checkout clerk at the grocery store, a wave to a neighbor working in their yard, or a few kind words exchanged with someone sitting on a bench at the park. The important thing is to recognize that your need for human connection is not a weakness or something to be embarrassed about. It's a fundamental part of being human, and addressing loneliness is just as important for your health as eating well or getting enough sleep. If you're watching this video and you're feeling isolated, I want you to know that there are people who care about your well-being, even if they're not physically present in your daily life right now. Let's talk about sleep, because the quality of your sleep has an enormous impact on both your anxiety levels and your heart health. Many older adults struggle with sleep disturbances, whether it's difficulty falling asleep, waking up frequently during the night, or waking up too early and not being able to get back to sleep. Poor sleep creates a vicious cycle with anxiety. When you don't sleep well, you're more prone to feeling anxious during the day, and when you're anxious, it's much harder to fall asleep and stay asleep. From a cardiovascular perspective, poor sleep puts extra stress on your heart and blood vessels. During quality sleep, your heart rate slows down, your blood pressure decreases, and your entire cardiovascular system gets a chance to rest and repair itself. When sleep is disrupted or insufficient, your heart doesn't get this crucial recovery time, which can contribute to elevated blood pressure, irregular heart rhythms, and increased risk of heart problems over time. Creating good conditions for sleep becomes even more important as we age, and this involves both your physical environment and your mental preparation for bedtime. Your bedroom should be as dark, quiet, and cool as possible. Heavy curtains or blackout shades can help block out street lights or early morning sun. If noise is an issue, a small fan or white noise machine can provide consistent, soothing background sound that masks disruptive noises from outside. But equally important is how you prepare your mind for sleep. The hour before bedtime should be devoted to activities that promote calm and relaxation. This is an ideal time to practice the breathing techniques we've discussed, to sip some chamomile tea, to do gentle stretching, or to write in a gratitude journal. It's also important to avoid stimulating activities like intense conversations, disturbing television programs, or reading material that might provoke worry or excitement. If you find that your mind tends to race with worries when you first lie down to sleep, you can use a technique called the mental inventory. This involves systematically relaxing each part of your body, starting with your toes and working your way up to the top of your head. As you focus on each body part, consciously release any tension you're holding there and allow that area to become heavy and relaxed. This gives your mind something specific and calming to focus on, rather than allowing it to spin through anxious thoughts. I want to address something that many people your age worry about: the concern that anxiety and heart problems are just inevitable parts of getting older, and that there's nothing you can do to improve how you feel. This simply isn't true. While it's natural for our bodies to change as we age, and while some health challenges become more common, you have far more control over your well-being than you might realize. Every technique we've discussed today, from breathing exercises to herbal teas to gratitude practices, works by supporting your body's own natural healing and regulation systems. Your nervous system has an incredible capacity to learn new patterns, even at this stage of your life. Your cardiovascular system responds positively to stress reduction at any age. Your sleep can improve with the right approaches and environment. These aren't false promises or wishful thinking. These are well-documented effects of the natural techniques we've been exploring. The key is to start small and be patient with yourself. You don't need to implement everything at once, and you don't need to be perfect at any of these practices. If you try the deep breathing technique and your mind wanders, that's completely normal. If you forget to practice gratitude some days, that doesn't mean you're failing. If you don't notice dramatic changes immediately, that doesn't mean these approaches aren't working. Healing and positive change often happen gradually, and sometimes the benefits are subtle at first. Consider choosing just one or two of these techniques to focus on for the next week or two. Maybe you decide to practice the 4-count inhale, 6-count exhale breathing pattern for 5 minutes each morning when you first wake up. Maybe you choose to have a cup of chamomile tea each evening while you practice gratitude, thinking of 3 things you appreciated about your day. Maybe you decide to put your hand on your heart and breathe deeply whenever you notice anxiety starting to build. Whatever you choose, approach it with the same kindness and patience you would offer to a dear friend who was learning something new. Remember that you're not trying to eliminate all stress or anxiety from your life. That would be neither possible nor healthy. You're simply giving yourself tools to respond to stress in ways that support your well-being rather than undermining it. I also want to emphasize that these natural approaches work best when they're part of a comprehensive approach to your health. This means staying connected with your healthcare providers, taking any prescribed medications as directed, and being honest with your doctor about your anxiety symptoms and concerns. Many healthcare providers are very supportive of patients using natural stress reduction techniques alongside conventional medical care, and some may even have additional suggestions based on your specific health situation. If you're currently taking medications for anxiety, depression, or heart conditions, please don't stop taking them without discussing it with your doctor first. The natural techniques we've discussed can often be used safely alongside medications, and in some cases they may eventually allow you to reduce your need for certain medications, but this should always be done under medical supervision. As we near the end of our time together today, I want to take a moment to acknowledge your courage in seeking out information about how to feel better. It takes strength to admit when we're struggling with anxiety or health concerns, and it takes hope to believe that positive change is possible. The fact that you're here, listening to this information, and considering how you might apply it in your own life, tells me that you haven't given up on feeling better. That's something to be proud of. You deserve to feel safe and comfortable in your own body. You deserve to have peaceful sleep, calm thoughts, and a heart that beats with steady confidence. You deserve to wake up in the morning feeling rested rather than worried, and to go through your days with a sense of inner steadiness rather than constant anxiety. These aren't luxuries or unrealistic expectations. They're basic aspects of well-being that remain available to you regardless of your age. Before I ask you to try some of these techniques tonight, I'd love to connect with our community of viewers who are all working on similar goals. If you're comfortable doing so, please take a moment to comment below and let us know where you're watching from today. Are you tuning in from a cozy home in Canada, a sunny apartment in Florida, a quiet town in the Midwest, or perhaps from somewhere else entirely? It's always wonderful to know how far our message of hope and healing is traveling, and other viewers often find comfort in knowing they're not alone in their journey toward better health. If the information in today's video has been helpful to you, I'd be so grateful if you would take a moment to click the like button. This helps other people who are dealing with similar challenges find this content when they're searching for natural ways to manage anxiety and support their heart health. Your simple click can be the reason someone else discovers these techniques and begins to feel better. And if you'd like to stay connected with more content specifically designed for adults who are navigating the health challenges and opportunities that come with being over 60, please consider subscribing to our channel. We regularly share information about natural health approaches, gentle movement practices, nutrition tips, and other topics that matter to people in your stage of life. Having you as part of our community means we can continue creating content that truly serves your needs and interests. Now, as we wrap up today's conversation, I want to leave you with a simple challenge and an invitation. Tonight, before you go to bed, I encourage you to try at least 2 of the techniques we've discussed. Perhaps you'll brew a cup of chamomile tea and sip it slowly while practicing gratitude for 3 things that went well in your day. Maybe you'll place your hand on your heart and practice the gentle breathing pattern we learned, inhaling for 4 counts and exhaling for 6 counts for just 5 minutes. Or perhaps you'll create a screen-free hour before bedtime, using that time to read something peaceful, do gentle stretches, or simply sit quietly and allow your mind to settle. Whatever you choose, approach it as an experiment rather than a test. You're simply exploring what feels good and helpful for your particular body and mind. Remember that your peace of mind and your heart health are intimately connected. When you take steps to calm your anxiety and reduce your stress, you're not just improving your emotional well-being, you're actively supporting the health of your cardiovascular system. Every deep breath you take, every moment of gratitude you experience, every good night's sleep you get is a gift to your heart. You don't have to struggle with anxiety and heart-related stress alone, and you don't have to accept these challenges as inevitable parts of aging. You have more power than you might realize to influence how you feel. both emotionally and physically. The tools we've discussed today are time-tested, research-supported, and available to you right now in your own home without any special equipment or expensive treatments. If you found value in today's discussion, and you believe that this kind of content makes a difference in people's lives, I want to let you know about one more way you can support this work. YouTube has a feature called the Thanks button, which you can find below this video, and it allows viewers to make a small contribution to help us continue creating and sharing this type of health-focused content. If you're in a position to do so, and you feel that this information has been worth your time, any support you can offer helps us keep this channel running and allows us to reach more people who could benefit from these natural approaches to anxiety and heart health. But whether or not you choose to contribute financially, please know that your attention, your willingness to learn, and your commitment to taking better care of yourself are contributions to a healthier, more hopeful world. When you feel better, when you're calmer and more at peace, that positive energy ripples out to everyone around you, your family, your friends, your community. As you go forward from here, please be gentle with yourself. Change takes time, and healing happens at its own pace. Some days you'll remember to practice these techniques, and they'll work beautifully. Other days you might forget, or you might try them and not notice much difference. That's all completely normal and okay. What matters is that you keep returning to these practices with kindness and patience, treating yourself with the same compassion you would offer to anyone else who was working to feel better. You're on the right path. The fact that you've spent this time learning about natural ways to support your mental and cardiovascular health shows that you're taking responsibility for your well-being in the most positive way possible. Trust in your body's ability to heal and rebalance itself when given the right support. Trust in your own wisdom about what feels good and helpful. And trust that small, consistent steps in the direction of better health can lead to meaningful improvements in how you feel every day. Thank you for spending this time with me today, and thank you for taking such good care of yourself. I hope you sleep peacefully tonight, and I hope you wake up tomorrow feeling just a little bit calmer, a little bit more hopeful, and a little bit more confident in your ability to manage whatever comes your way. Until we meet again, take care of yourself, and remember that you deserve to feel good in your own body and peaceful in your own mind. You really are on the right path.